AD 155, in the 2nd century, under the reign of Caesar Marcus Aurelius, the persecution of Christians intensified. This would lead to the arrest of a man known as the Bishop of Smyrna, a man who had been taught, trained, and even appointed to that position by the Apostle John himself. You say, who was this man? His name was Polycarp. On the day of his arrest, Polycarp saw the guards that were coming to get him from a distance. He had the opportunity to run, but rather didn't. Instead, when the guards got there, he offered them food and drink, and he asked the guards, will you permit me just 1 hour to spend praying to the Lord before you take me under arrest? The guards permitted him to pray. Polycarp, so full with the Spirit, prayed for not 1 hour, but actually 2 hours. There was such conviction in his prayers that the guards who listened gave testimony that they even repented over what they were having to do to this godly man. Polycarp was led to the proconsul and then into a stadium filled with pagans and Jews who were longing to see the death of Polycarp. It was there that the proconsul Quadratus didn't really want to put this elderly man to death. He didn't want to inspire any of his followers to go on and live more zealous Christian lives. And so he attempted. He attempted first to scare him by telling him, look, I'm going to feed you to the lions. To which Polycarp replied, do what you must. Frustrated by the fact he would not recant, he then said, look, if you don't recant, I am going to burn you alive. To which Polycarp replied, sir, the fire that you are going to burn me with will last but an hour. However, the fire you rest under God's judgment, will last eternally. Polycarp was then led by guards up to the stake where he was to be burned. They wanted to nail his hands there because they were afraid he was going to run. However, he pleaded with the guards, please just tie me to the stake. I will not run from what must be done. The guards then tied him to the stake and lit the place where he was to be burned. History tells us that as the flames went higher, God sent a wind so strong that it blew the flame around Polycarp, but it did not singe his body. No, the flame didn't even touch him. And those who watched witnessed in amazement. The guards, out of anger and frustration that the flame could not touch him, took a dagger then and ran up to where Polycarp was and stabbed him right in the chest. They say that the blood that flowed out of Polycarp was so strong that it put out the flames of the fire. You say, what a horrific event. Do you know something? This event could have been prevented if Polycarp would have just said 2 words the days before. As he stood before the proconsul offered him. He said, none of this will have to happen if you will just say 2 words. You say, what are those 2 words? They were Kaiser Kyrios. That is, in English, Caesar is Lord. To which Polycarp replied as he was offered the opportunity to deny Christ. For 86 years I have served Christ, and in all of those 86 years He has never forsaken me. So how could I forsake